starter, so it's likely it's gonna go on and on into the evening. My prayer right now is that can it hold on when I get into bed, then it starts again. Sets in the right mood for a good sleep. In the meantime, though, before the sleep, we are up, awake, and active. We've been like this from dawn, making sure we bring you the best experience right here on 3FM 92.7. Another week, another show. Welcome to Unedited right here on 3FM 92.7. Earlier on, you're hanging with a drive team with Giovanni, AJ, and the entire crew. They're back on your dial tomorrow. Tomorrow, same time from 2 or through to 7. And here we are, ready to motivate you, inspire you with, guess what? True, real life experiences. Not some fiction somewhere, not some story we read somewhere, but from the horse's own mouth. Today, we'll begin our Survivor series in the month of June. So June is going to be a very interesting month. It's going to have a mix of different, experiences. You'll be hearing from some people that you know and love very well, but we talk to them about things you never knew they have been dealing with. Okay, and the beauty about it is that at the end of the day, it will leave you speechless in a good way. You'll be so inspired, and you probably will love them even more than you ever did. Together with the team, we're good to go. My name is Miriam. Mamiadra is on production. Amaka is on social media, and of course, DJ Phil is in the building. There is a song that, again, it's been on my mind for a while. Okay, so when I was thinking of what song to play to start today's show, I thought the couple of them that have been running through my mind. But I settled on this one. It's a song by Tyron Welt, and it talks about hills and valleys. If you're somebody who loves Tyron, then you probably know this song. We'll have a quick listen to it, and then we'll come back and I introduce my guest. All right.
Unedited, real life-changing stories.
Down there, nobody's there with you. Well, he's there, and when you're up there on the hill and everybody's shouting you out, well, guess what? He's there as well. My guest has been to the valley and is trying to find himself up into the hill right now. Is it a correct description for your process right now?
Yeah, the journey continues.
The journey continues. All right, so that's a voice of John. John, let me just adjust your microphone really quickly. Could you try that again?
Hi.
Much better.
All right.
So the name is, you're going to help me pronounce the last name. John Asogonnde.
Yes.
I got this right.
You got it right.
Oh, nice.
Well done.
Great. Good to have you here finally.
Thank you so much, Miriam.
I'm not going to lie to you. When I posted your flyer up, a lot of people sent me messages asking, is this for real? Is this for real? I'm like, well, yeah, we'll find out all the details tonight.
Wow, interesting.
So I can't wait to get into that part. But because there's a story behind how you got there. We're going to begin with that. So, Asogonnde means you're from which part of Ghana?
I'm from the Upper East region.
Oh, you're from the Upper East region?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. From a family of what?
We are Busangas, and I'm from a family of 6. I'm the second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you're a big brother to some.
I'm big brother to 4.
To 4. I see. But you didn't quite grow up in.
In the Upper East, no.
In the Upper East, right?
I actually grew up in the Volta region.
Okay.
In a place called KGB. Actually, that's OT region now.
I know KJP. I'm from OT region.
You're from OT region?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
I'm from Budada.
Budada?
Yes.
Cool.
I'm sure you're familiar with that place. I'm from there.
Oh, awesome.
I see. So that's where you school?
Yeah, so I was born and bred in KJB. I schooled there from basic school all the way to SS.
Okay.
Then I came to Accra for university.
I see. What kind of family did you come from? Strict, liberal? You could have your way with things easily? What kind of family was it?
I believe my dad was very open-minded because he had traveled a lot.
Oh,
and
okay.
So even though he was a pastor, he still afforded us the liberty to explore, but he was strict, he was disciplined, but again he provided us that liberty to just be ourselves.
I see. So it's safe to say that you came from a reasonably comfortable family.
Yeah.
I mean, financially you didn't lack much, right?
We didn't. At least in that town, I believe we're very well to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were the popular families.
I guess so.
So Giovanni tells me that you have a history together.
Yeah, Giovanni actually grew up there as well.
Okay.
And we were in the same church, so he was my Sunday school teacher.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Giovanni was your Sunday school teacher. I feel, why are you laughing? I
can't believe it, right?
Not that he can't do it, but it's just very difficult reconciling the two right now. What kind of Sunday school teacher? I mean, just to digress a little bit, what kind of Sunday school teacher was he?
He sang in the choir.
Giovanni sang.
Yeah, so on Sundays he actually led praises and worship and
I see.
Yeah, and we had this thing called Royal Rangers, Assemblies of God. So he was the leader and I was the captain. So every day I have to go to his house and go and follow up. It was really
Are you kidding
awesome
me?
experience. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not that we're not proud of where he's turned out to be, but it's just like that. But so I mean, in that environment where you grew up, I'm sure you had dreams. What were you aspiring to be when you were young?
Yeah, what I aspired to be when I was young has actually lived with me throughout my life.
Okay.
And it's become like my biggest ambition.
Lucky you. What was it?
It was one cool day like that in KJB, and if you know the place very well, it's a very quiet town. Everybody's just minding their business.
Yeah.
But there was this day they said President Rawlings was coming to town. And the streets were just alive. Everybody was excited. So I planned out I would also go and see what's happening.
Okay.
The day came, the whole town was jubilating, noise everywhere. I got to the park, I managed to climb some car or something. I stood up on the car just trying to get a glimpse of this man.
Yeah.
And then I saw Rollins over there on the stage, as he grabbed the mic and you're speaking. It was just phenomenal. I was like, wow, who is this man? Just his presence alone brought some sort of hope and possibility to the town.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to become like that man. I want to become a person that wherever I go, my presence alone can bring hope to people.
So you aspired to be a president.
Yeah.
And how old were you then?
I was 6.
You were 6.
Yeah.
And you wanted to be a president at age 6. I mean, not that it's a bad thing, but at age 6, a lot of us were thinking presidency level. Wow. It means, I mean, naturally, you've always seen yourself as a very charismatic person, because that's one thing that, was very obvious
about him. His charisma was just infectious.
Absolutely.
It influenced me.
Nice. So, and then after, when you did school in KJB until, university.
Yeah.
And then you came to University of Ghana?
No, I came to Valley View University.
Oh, you came to Valley View?
That's a whole different story on its own.
Interesting. Wow. And what did you study there?
I studied human resource management.
Interesting. And from when you, as young as you can recall, to the time that maybe you hit 18, did you ever had encountered alcohol in any way?
Yeah, I did. That's what it was it's a whole different story on its own. I started drinking when I was in high school, and
in high school?
Yeah.
What? Palm wine? Akwetashi? Or what?
What was the first thing I drank? I think it was Striker in that sachet thing.
Oh.
There was this striker drink.
Yeah, in small sachets.
Small
like that.
sachets, yeah. I think that was the first alcohol I ever tasted, and then we moved on to Smirnoff Ice because it was nice.
So you bought this, or you were just sampling of somebody's purchase?
I believe I bought it, but it was through the influence of a friend, peer pressure. We stepped out and everybody was drinking, so I was curious. I wanted to know what this was like, and then I tried it. And like I said, the striker was bitter, so I didn't even like it. I thought alcohol was not something for me.
Oh, okay.
But then we discovered Smirnoff, which I like the effect of it, because after I drank the striker, even though the taste was bitter, it gave me some groove, and I felt like I could do what I wanted to do. Yeah. So even though I didn't like the taste then, I like the effect. So when we found Smirnoff, and Smirnoff had the sweet taste, it became something we were always indulging in. Yeah, and so secondary school, I was drinking, and then I started smoking cigarettes as well.
At secondary school?
At secondary school.
Okay, which secondary school? Oh, you don't want to mention?
I can mention. I went to KJB secondary school.
Okay.
Right then, KJB. And so, this lifestyle just pushed you into bad company.
And the cigarette was from your own adventurous selves, or that also was as a result of peer pressure?
Peer pressure.
Okay.
But was out of my adventurous lifestyle, because nobody ever forced me to smoke.
Yeah.
It's just because I saw them smoking and I felt, this was cool. And these were the coolest guys on campus. So if they are smoking, then it might be something that is nice, So I tried it, and back then again, cigarettes were just something I was using as a prop, smoking, then blow the circles.
You just wanted to look cool.
Look cool, yeah. And like I was saying, this obviously launched you into bad company. So it actually ended up in me being sacked from school. I was indefinitely suspended from KJV secondary school. Yeah. We left school without permission for a fanfare. We came all the way from KJV to Krobo Girls fanfare. We didn't go back the same day. Came to Accra, hang out a little. So by the time we go back to school, everybody found out that
you were not on campus.
John is not on campus anymore. So the next Monday morning, they call us to assembly. You are indefinitely suspended.
Well, and how did your parents take that?
Yeah, so you can imagine
your dad was a preacher as well, right?
Exactly. It was terrible. The news spread across town. The pastor's son left school to go and dance Asogonnde in Krobo Girls.
That was what was going around.
Because around that time, Asogonnde was popular. So even though I didn't go to dance Asogonnde, it became it became the thing, and it was a very sad moment.
So you have to go to a different school?
I didn't. So I was in Form 3. We were supposed to do 4 years, but then I registered to write NOVDEC when I was sacked. And the plan was to write NOVDEC, and then definitely they were going to call us back, because my dad was influential, so probably they'll just let us be at home for a few months, and then they'll call us back.
Exams. Okay.
So when I wrote the NOVDEC, I passed. I had very good grades, and so I got admission to Valley View.
Okay.
And so by the time the school called us back,
I was
already in level 100.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I get the impression that you're naturally a bookworm.
I think
you want to believe yourself. You want to believe that you're a bookworm.
God has blessed me with some sort of brilliance.
Absolutely. So did Valley View fuel this urge that was beginning from KJB, or it kind of like coiled it a bit?
It fueled it.
It fueled it. Tell me how.
So when I got admission to Valley View, people thought, oh, okay, at least now he'll turn a new leaf. He's been sacked from school, but God being so good, he's been admitted to university. So yeah, good luck.
Okay.
But I saw it as an opportunity to just, explore all my fantasies, because now in the university, you don't have any supervision.
Right.
It's not like secondary schools where there's roll call and all of these things. And I had my own room in the hostel. So yeah, I thought this was time to explore all the things I wanted to do.
And what are the things you explored?
Ladies, clubbing, all of these things.
When you came to Valley View, how old were you?
I was 18.
You were 18?
Yeah.
You had your first sexual encounter when?
Oh, that was even before I came to
Long
Valley.
before. Okay.
Yeah, that was when I actually, the night after my BEC.
Okay.
That very night, I decided to try the real thing.
And how old were you then?
15.
You're 15?
Yeah.
Okay. Fast forward to Valley View.
Yeah, so Valley View, the hostel I was in, all the guys there were smoking. And because I had already started smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol, I didn't hesitate to join the party, But I was only doing cigarettes then, and these guys were smoking marijuana.
Okay, at Valley View. At the time.
Yeah. And no shade to Valley View or anything. These are just personal stories. This is not a failure on Valley View's side.
Right.
My hostel was not even on campus. We were off campus.
You're off campus. Yeah. Okay.
So these guys were smoking marijuana, and they'll tell you, oh, marijuana is better than cigarettes. Marijuana is God's plant. It was given to us by the Almighty. So I was curious. I was like, well, let me try this thing they're talking about. And before I got to university, all the stories I heard about marijuana was that people who smoke marijuana go mad, or people who smoke marijuana are reckless and dirty and all this. But you come to university and you see very well-adjusted individuals smoking. You see these guys who look very polished, but they're smoking marijuana. So I was like, let me try this thing for myself and see what it's all about. So one evening, it was a party. I was bold enough to take my first puff
at the party.
And I loved it.
You did?
Yeah.
How did it make you feel? You remember?
I think laughter. I loved it a lot, and then it gave me some sense of confidence, and I think I thought I could actually think more critically. The first time I started smoking, I thought, it opened my brains to think widely. And appetite. It also gave me appetite, so I was able to eat more.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the very next day after the party, I was looking forward to smoke again.
And this was you still in your first year?
Yeah, first year. Very first semester.
Okay.
I was looking forward to the next day, and this time I was just smoking like a puff or two, and I'll be fine.
On campus or at
in my
the
hostel? At the hostel.
Okay.
I told you we are off campus.
Off campus, yes.
So yeah, we did all that off campus, and then when we have lectures, we go to campus.
Right.
So just a puff or two was enough, and I still didn't really think it would become something I would smoke every day. But then one evening, I came across a quenched joint, like someone has smoked it and they quenched it.
The bits, okay.
So I smelled it, and the aroma was just so good.
The aroma
of the quenched weed. So at that point I was like, Charlie, this thing, you're going to be addicted to it, because how else can you come across this quenched smell that you love if you haven't lighted it? So I added one into it, and I realized it means once I love this smell, I'm always going to find a way to have it. And if that comes with lighting it up myself to smoke before I get that smell, then so be it. And so as fate to have it, I got addicted to marijuana, and we smoked every day. My hostel was like the party heaven. Like,
when you say every day, so you were in Valley View for 4 years.
Yeah.
And from the time that you felt that you had become addicted, you said you smoke every day. So for 4 years, 365 times 4, you were high every day.
Every single day.
How did that impair your studies?
It did. It did. Like level 200, second semester, first semester, I checked my results, F, straight up, F, and we're doing like 5 courses, so it means I only passed maybe 1.
Are you kidding me now?
I'm serious. And so at that point I was like, nah, this thing is becoming dangerous, because like you said, I had some brilliance. I didn't even finish secondary school, and I was able to get admission to university. So in my very first year, actually, I was a first class student.
Oh, you
I had
were?
A's, yeah. First semester Valley View, I had A's, and that was like, my GPA was like 3.9 something.
Is it?
Yeah. But then second year, second semester, F, and it was terrible. So.
And did your parents know what was going on? Did they have a clue what you were probably up to? That were
not yet.
Okay.
I think they got to know in my 3rd year. Yeah, my 3rd year. A friend of mine snitched on me. He went to tell my aunt that John is smoking, and you have to tell his parents. So my aunt also went to tell my mom, and back home in KGB, I had a place where I kept my weed. So
you left some at home in KGB?
So that was actually during the vacation period.
When you go, you left some there?
I left some there.
And your parents didn't know that it was in the house with them?
At all. They didn't even know because it was a big house. I was at boys' quarters, so at night I used to smoke at the boys' quarters, and so they wouldn't even smell or feel anything that's happening. But this friend I trusted, he knew I was smoking because I felt like, we're peers. We went to school together, so I didn't even bother hiding it from him. But he went behind my back, told my aunt. My aunt told my mom.
And so they discovered it.
My mom went to actually pick out the weed from where I keep it in my room. And she confronted me, so I couldn't lie. And she begged me, she talked to me, she prayed with me to quit smoking. I was like, cool, I'll try. So I came back to school. And again, because I also realized I failed 4 courses in a semester,
right.
I had that urge to try and at least change something. So one of the things I did was to move from my hostel, because my hostel was just like, we even planted weed in my hostel. Like, there's no way. Are you kidding
me now?
Yeah.
So you guys smoked to the point that you wanted the source right there with you,
right there,
and you planted it in a pot.
In a pot upstairs. It was a 2-story building, so we planted it upstairs. Catered to it, and anytime we went to smoke, we just go pick it up. And
did you guys were you guys able to wait till it grew, or as it was as the leaves were coming, you were plucking? Because if you guys were in weed every single day and you had planted it, and you didn't want to be short of your own supply, that's serious. But did you know it was illegal? Of
course, just smoking it was legal. How much more planting it? Yeah, but that's just how life is. And so I realized I had to leave that hostel if anything was going to happen. So I left, I went to a different hostel, and I was thinking, good, this time around I'll be able to quit. But guess what?
Tell me.
Behind that hostel, there was an old lady who was selling weed.
There was an old lady who was selling weed?
Yeah. And this new hostel too had guys who were smoking. So I thought I left hell going to paradise, but then it was worse, and so just like 3 or 4 days after
this old lady was selling to the students. I'm just trying to understand, right? She was cultivating it and selling, or where was she getting herself?
I didn't even know where she got it from. I don't think she was farming it there. I think maybe she gets it from somewhere, right? So she was just the distributor.
How much money, when you think back, how much money were you investing in weed when you were in school and you were addicted?
Quite a lot. I think when we started smoking, we were just smoking the cheap stuff. I think the very first time we started smoking, a joint was like 1 CD. But then as time went on, we started looking for better strains, and so you could get it for like 20 CDs, 30 CDs, just for some little gram that rolls up like 2 or 3 joints. Right. Yeah, so we were spending quite a lot of money. But that thing was, even if you don't have money to buy weed, someone else would have, and I never ran short of weed.
You didn't come to the point where you had to do you had to steal to buy weed?
Never.
I see.
I was privileged. My parents provided for me, and so I always had. You
didn't lack money from home. You didn't care or love from home.
I didn't at all. Yeah.
So in this new hostel where you have an old lady who's a dealer, right? Right behind. Tell me how things turned.
Yeah, so I abstained from weed for just like 3 or 4 days when I just moved to that new hostel. And even those 3 or 4 days were very difficult. So I was actually even drinking more because
you couldn't find weed.
I couldn't find weed, so I was drinking more. And so finally, when I found the weed, I just sort of seeped back into the habit. And so every morning I wake up, back to my rituals: smoke. But
what about class?
So another thing is I realized that if I didn't do my best to graduate, then my mom would know that I didn't give up the habits I promised her I was going to give up. So I didn't want the situation where the 4 years is up and then I'm still in school, I haven't graduated yet.
Right.
So now during vacations, instead of going home, I had to stay back and do vacation school. And so luckily now I think my dad paid for it. I don't know what excuse I even give to him for him to even pay for those classes.
And you were using the same money to fund your habits?
Yeah, exactly. So I managed to do the vacation school, and then exactly 4 years after, when I was supposed to graduate, I was able to graduate.
With what class?
Terrible. I mean, not too terrible. I was it a second class upper? But I was a first class student, so I could have been a first class student easily. But because of this, I had like a GPA of 3.1 or something, and Valley View's score is really, really strict. So yeah, I graduated, and I didn't struggle to get a job. Before I graduated, I was already working.
Oh, you were? Where?
I was working with Black Avenue Music.
Oh, D Black.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you got to know the industry quite early, huh?
Yeah.
What were you doing for D Black?
So in school, I was his personal assistant.
Okay.
And so after I graduated, he made me the business manager for his record label.
How did you meet him?
I think I just DM'd him in school, but actually I was working with Foresight as well in school.
Okay.
Third year, I was working with Foresight TV. I was doing blogging, marketing, and all that.
Okay.
Sort of as an internship, because I loved entertainment, so I'd always go to Foresight TV and just help out with everything I wanted to do there. And so I DM'd D Black, but obviously anytime he came to Foresight TV, he saw me there.
Okay.
And so eventually he made me his PA. And so after school, I didn't have to apply for a job. He just instantly made me a business manager.
I see.
To go from there.
Interesting. I mean, so you now at this point you were in an industry that is very upbeat, and there's a lot of. I mean, there's something happening every minute, every second, and all of that.
Time.
Did D Black know about your growing addiction at the time that you started working with him?
So the thing about me is I had a dual lifestyle. Even though I was smoking and all that, I was still very focused and still very polished. You'd always find me in my suit. So even in the nightclub, I'm always wearing my suit, and if he gave me any job, I was able to deliver. But of course, as time went on, when marijuana started taking toll on me, he saw it and he was concerned sometimes. He told me, "Oh, Charlie, if you slow down, if you do this, you will slow down." But like you said, it's an industry where such things are normalized. So it wasn't even in his place to say it, because in the studio, people are smoking. In the nightclub, he owns a nightclub, and I was working there as well. So there's no way he could have told me to stop smoking. So yeah, that environment just provided the perfect sort of ladder for me to just keep going.
So then it means that your association with Black Avenue at the time that you joined exacerbated the problem for you. It made things even worse. Would you say that? Because I mean, we're just talking about the fact that it's an industry where a lot of things happen.
Yeah.
There's partying. There's a lot of every minute, every second, something's happening. And I mean, you're with a record label where there's music. You've just said that in the studio, people come in and they're smoking and all of that. Do you think that contributed greatly to your growing addiction?
It did, but I wouldn't want to put the blame on them, because one would also think that going to a school like Valley View is supposed to be a Christian school. You wouldn't even encounter such things. So I think it's just choices.
Right.
Everybody has choices to make. So even though I was in that environment, if I choose not to smoke, or if I chose not to live that life, I could have excelled. There were people in Black Avenue who didn't smoke.
Okay.
So yeah, that environment actually played a role, but it was also because of my own personal choices.
Was weed readily available for you at Black Avenue?
It was readily available. There was no time I didn't have access to weed. And this time around, because I was working, I had my own car, I had money. So we're actually affording, even more expensive weed. So I could drive I was at North Kaneshi. I could drive from North Kaneshi to Aveno easily. That's the base. So you get weed from there. Sometimes from North Kaneshi to Osu, to Labadi, everywhere. Just, sourcing out this expensive weed.
I mean, which part of Accra has the most, how do I even put it?
Potent.
Yeah, I mean, which part of Accra is heavily, I mean, from your experience, heavily dependent, or you find a lot of weed?
Osu, I think. Osu. But Aveno is like the headquarters. But people take it from there and then go to Osu. Osu is like the nightlife capital, so everything is happening there.
When you think about what at that stage of your life, what did you think of yourself? Did you feel I had arrived? This is the life that everybody else wanted it, and I was there, and I was living it.
Yeah.
Or you're not sure what was going on with you.
So it's two things. I was living my best life, and like you just said, people admired such a lifestyle, celebrity, social media, posting all these flashy things, going to nightclubs, going to award shows. So it was flamboyant. It was exciting in the public's eye. But also because of the upbringing I had and the ambitions I had as little as 6.
Yeah.
And the things that formed my life, I always felt miserable. I always felt like I was lost. So
even in the midst of all the fun and all of that.
Yeah, in the midst of all these things, like I would always feel, miserable and feel lost. Like, nah, this is not the life for you, But I just couldn't help it because that was the situation I found myself in.
In your book, I mean, the book you wrote about breaking up with Mary Jane. I haven't seen anyone write so beautifully in a while. Your writing, he writes it so very personal, like actually, writing to a girl or to an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
And the way you describe your relationship with marijuana. At what point did you decide that, look, I don't want to be this John who is addicted to marijuana any longer? When did that awakening come to you, and how did it happen?
It started as a process. So it was in March 2018. I was in my room. I was watching music videos on YouTube, and then a sermon popped up: "Stepping out of your prison," Dr. Mensa Otabil. And I was just surprised. I was watching music videos. What does Mensa Otabil has to do with music videos? But the title actually caught my attention: "Stepping Out from Your Prison." And like I just described, my life was fabulous, but I felt miserable. So I said, oh, let me just listen to what this man has to say. And then the moment I listened to that message, it gave me some new perception. It made me realize that whatever situation in which you are, if you don't like it, you have to step out yourself. Nobody's going to bring you out.
Were you contemplating leaving the life you were living? Were you from time to time having that inclination to leave?
I never really thought to leave because marijuana, like as you said in the book, you could see the intimate relationship I had with her. So I never really thought I would stop smoking, but I knew there was something wrong somewhere. I just couldn't be bold enough to face it and say it was marijuana or it was alcohol, because it's not just marijuana. I was drinking, I was having sexual escapades and all that, but I just couldn't pinpoint it to say these habits will destroy you. But that message made me understand that every human being has things in your life that will destroy you, but you're not going to wait on God or wait on an angel or anybody to come and take you out. You have to step out of those things yourself. And so I was intrigued, and so I decided to keep listening to him. And my dad is a pastor, so Christianity was not new to me, but his messages just had this in-depth wisdom, and his teaching was just amazing. So I kept listening to him over and over again. This was in March. Then in September, something happened that just changed everything.
What happened?
So there was this guy that I admired so much. He was like my biggest role model. And
is he Ghanaian?
He's not Ghanaian. I think he's from Angola.
Okay.
And this guy was living the life. Like, he was in private jets. He was partying with people like Rihanna, Cristiano Ronaldo, Floyd Mayweather. He was driving the flashiest cars, Rolls Royce, Ferrari, doing all these flashy things. And at the same time, he was also very instrumental in his country's politics. So he would meet with presidents. He was meeting with people of power. And so I really admired this guy. Then in September, I think ending parts of September 2018, I go on social media one day, and then they say Godiamo jumps off his 10th floor penthouse suite in Miami and kills himself. So that's when the whole message just hit me. What shall it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? Because Godiamo was somebody I was really looking up to. He had it all. And so why would he just commit suicide like that? So I just...
So you wanted answers?
It hit me hard. And because I was also listening to Dr. Mensa Otabil from March until September, I had already built a transformed mind. I just didn't have the push to go ahead and make the change. So a few days after that incident, I was like, this is it. I'm not going this path anymore.
Right.
And so I remember I was smoking my very last joint. I went into the washroom, I flashed it, came back to my room, emptied all the alcohol bottles, threw out all my condoms, paraphernalias, Rizzlers, lighters, everything. Just emptied out everything, and boom, it was a new life.
Were you living alone at the time?
I was.
You were living alone?
Yeah.
So for your friends who probably came to visit and noticed that all the things that used to be there were not there, what did they ask you questions?
They were shocked. They're like, Charlie, are you correct? What are you having? Like, what's happening? And they didn't believe it because it was too radical. Just yesterday you were here, there was weed. The next day you come and the place is cleaned out. No single drop of alcohol or single, plants or single gram of weed.
So you just decided one day you were getting rid of everything connected you to the vices.
Exactly.
I mean, for a lot of times when you listen to or watch interviews with people who have walked your path, they would say that, well, you've got to do it slowly because you go to relapse. Is that how it should work? Or
I don't think so. I think I think cold turkey is the best way because I mean, look, there's no point doing it once in a while. It's like taking one step forward and two steps back.
Right.
And I could have just stopped smoking and kept drinking alcohol, but I realized that these were all connected. So if I was still drinking alcohol, sooner or later I'll still find myself back smoking. So I had to do it away with all of them, and so that's what I did. I just cleaned it out and
you started a new leaf.
Yeah.
Just like that. Putting all your past behind you. I'm sure people around you didn't even think that you were being real. I'm sure they would think, oh well, give him a couple of week or two, and they were
actually placing bets behind my back.
Are you kidding me?
Make you bet. He will come back 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's been 4 years. I've not been back.
It's been 4 years.
Yeah.
You hadn't tasted alcohol.
Nope. Not a single sip.
You're serious about this?
Serious.
You haven't smoked
single
marijuana?
Puff. Nope. No marijuana, no cigarettes, no drugs.
Which other drugs were you doing apart from marijuana?
I was doing the regular tramadol, cigars, and then cigarettes and alcohol.
That's an expensive lifestyle. So you had money. You had money to buy it, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
These are all cash that you made legally?
Yeah, obviously. I was working in a legitimate business.
You weren't selling some of the drugs? You weren't selling drugs?
Not at all. Was I? Nah.
Hey, I'm not the one to answer that. Or at some point you sold a bit to keep up your lifestyle.
I don't think I sold, but probably maybe I'll just have extra.
You got tipped for it.
I'll just have extra, and so when I'm in the nightclub and somebody wants some, it probably just sell to them a bit higher. But I wasn't a dealer. Like my personal stash. If I had my personal stash and someone came in, the person wanted weed, because I understood the craving, I'll sell to you and then just make something extra. Yeah.
I mean, let me ask you this. In the space, and I'm asking you this because it's the industry that you have spent most of your time in.
Yeah.
Your working career and all of that. How volatile is, the art space, the showbiz space, as far as drugs is concerned? Is it overrated, or we're actually underrating the influence that drugs has on this industry? Let's have a very candid conversation here.
I think we're actually underrating it.
We're underrating it.
Yeah.
It's far more dependent on drugs than we think.
Yeah, because it's like the thing that brings them together. Like in the studio before they record, like they're always rolling up. In the nightclub before anything happens, they're rolling up. They're drinking. Alcohol is a constant. Yeah, so I think we're underrating it. But there are still some people in the industry who have, managed to stay sober and to stay clean. Kudos to those people. But yeah, the majority of people are really, really dependent on drugs.
You said D-Black was concerned at a point.
Mm-hmm.
Did he help you to deal with your new path? Did he even know that you had taken the decision to quit smoking and drinking and doing drugs?
Oh yeah.
He knew it.
He knew it.
So
yeah.
what role did he play in helping you find your new self?
He allowed me to be. He didn't. he didn't really do anything extraordinary, but obviously we just grew apart, because now every night when they are going to the club, John wants to go to the church, or John is in his room reading Bible or reading some book, and like it wasn't just clicking anymore. So I just had to resign from the company, even though we had a very cordial relationship and respect for each other. Till date, we're still very cool, but the environment was just not, conducive for my new set of values and morals.
On your new path, when you were finding yourself, I'm sure there were some very challenging moments, because I don't want to believe it was all roses from 2018 up until today.
Not at all.
I mean, there might have been temptations that left you in the place of, should I go back or should I stay? Did those moments happen?
A lot, a whole lot.
Share some with me.
Well, the funny one, just like two or 3 weeks after I stopped smoking, there was this girl I was chasing for a long time. Like, she was really pretty, I loved her, and she was always tossing me. Then one day I'm in my house, she was like, "Hey, are you home? I want to pass by."
This is you trying to be a new man. This is you trying to be a new man.
And I'm like, wow, like why this time,
Yeah.
But I still actually told her to come, and
You told her to come?
She came.
Okay, what happened?
So she came. She was looking all good, like I don't know if someone told her to come and tempt me or whatever. She came looking all good. She had weed. She had like some really good, like potent smelling weed, and she came. So we're in the room, and she was surprised I didn't initiate anything. She started rolling up. She was like, "Oh, won't you?" She knows I smoke, so what's up? Why are you not trying to roll up with me? I'm like, "No, cool." And at that time too, I didn't want to make it too obvious that, oh, I'm a holy man. So I was trying to entertain her, but then I was fighting deep within me. You can't do this, because the moment you do this,
You're going back again.
Yeah, it just cancels out all the work you put in these past few weeks. So in my head, I was just saying a prayer: God, let something happen. God, let something happen. And out of nowhere, I think a war gecko or something started climbing up the wall. And this lady happens to be very scared of war geckos. So immediately she ran out of the room. She's like, "Look, she has a phobia for war geckos, and she cannot, she just can't." And I was like, wow, this actually is God, because maybe if she had stayed in the room with me consistently for over a time, I probably would have just fallen. And I don't know if God sent that war jacket to just, scare her out. So she came out, and we stood out for a while, and then she just left. And that was it. Like that moment actually made me realize the amount of strength I had built, and one other thing I did was fast. I fasted for like 21 days, so that also built my resilience. If I was able to say no to food, how much more weed or a woman? This food is something that is basic need. Everybody needs to eat. So if for 21 days I've not eaten, then there's no way you can tempt me with weed or with any other thing.
Interesting. So I'm in the studio with John Asogonnde. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
I've been practicing in my head. He's been sharing with us, and we're still talking about his journey from, surviving addiction and finding himself. There's still so much to talk about. He shared with us his days in uni and how he got into the showbiz business and how that took a toll on his addiction. Here's what we're going to do. I know the news will come up at 8. We'll have the news, and we'll take about just 20 minutes off our coffers time. Please forgive us, so that we can stretch this a little bit longer, and then have you also call into the show as well. So let's now talk about the role your parents played. From what you tell me, they didn't know too much about the phases you were going through, but at the time when you resolved that you were going to stay clear of these vices, did your mom know about it? Your dad know about it? Did they help you?
They were proud of me. Like, they were so proud of me. And like I said, I had to resign from the company, and so this actually the sacrifice I had to make, because D Black was providing me my accommodation, salary, everything, but I had to resign and leave my accommodation and go and find some ghetto in Adabraka to stay. You can imagine, because my parents are not even in Accra, so that was tough. But I just had to make that sacrifice because I knew.
So
what
how are
I
you
found.
surviving with paying your rent, money?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My parents were very helpful because
Okay.
during this period they were still like trying to support me here and there. And then of course God will never forsake you. Like God, that's one thing that was just clear. I took that bold step to walk away from this this world, just believing that God would provide. I didn't have any other source of income anywhere, but I just believed that God would provide. And yeah, by His grace, He provided. I got contracts here and there. Before I knew it, I started my first company. And yeah.
What were you doing with your first company?
So the company is called J2 Global, and it's a branding and marketing firm.
Okay.
I have skills in branding and marketing, social media, printing. So I just set up this company and then started doing brand identity for people, graphic designs, website design,
Right.
logo, printing. Yeah, and so I was able to survive on that.
And during this period, which other temptations came your way?
Money, when you're broke.
Because you're somebody who has seen money before,
Yeah.
and you've seen how to get money, and you've seen who to go to get money.
You know.
But you've decided to put yourself in a place where you don't want to have anything to do with the same people who could help you, keep going.
Yeah.
So how are you?
So that was difficult because I had godfathers who had money. Like I could just go to them and then they would give you. But this time around, I was not encouraging their behavior, and they didn't even feel comfortable with me around because they feel like you say to smoke again, so why are you coming to me or something?
Right.
So I just couldn't really be around those people anymore. Yeah, and that was challenging, but I just stuck to my principles, and God has not forsaken me.
So you were very heavily reliant on scripture,
Yeah.
and also the word of God. I mean, in your book you cite Pastor Mensa Otabil and the late
Miles Monroe.
as
Yeah.
well. So you started worshiping in ICGC, or
I did,
Oh,
right,
you did.
right there
Okay.
in Christ Temple where Mensa Otabil himself is. I started fellowshipping there, and yeah, I've been there for the past 4 years.
Did you get a chance to meet him in the beginning?
No, I didn't get, but I've gotten to meet him recently.
Recently. Was there a specific message for you? I mean, when you started, finding yourself again in God, was there a specific assignment for you that you realized? Did you understand why you were going through the phase you were going through, and why you had been through what you had gone through? Or you're still discovering that?
Of course, I'm still discovering that, but I feel like all the experiences I had would play out in me, also influencing other people and impacting others. And that's the reason why I started my business, my new business, the non-alcoholic bar.
Yeah, we'll
bar.
get into that.
Yeah, and also like entertainment, I still have a lot of passion for entertainment. So as time goes on, I'm going to be venturing into other things in that sphere, and hopefully do it cleaner than it's being done on the other side.
Interesting. All right. So Lord will bring you the news in just a few minutes. Let's see if we can read some messages off Facebook, and then when we come back, we will definitely activate the phone lines and get your thoughts about it as well. I mean, you talk about still having interest in entertainment and wanting to do it cleaner than you did before.
Yeah.
What do you mean by doing it cleaner? When you say doing it cleaner than before, what's that supposed to mean?
I mean, the bar speaks for itself. It's clean. And then I want to make movies. I realize that movies have a very tremendous impact on forming ideologies and identities. And so I want to make movies that can inspire people from childhood all the way to adulthood. So yeah, I'm really, really particular about making some good movies.
Before we take the break, let me ask you though. I mean, there's a lot of conception that we hear about the effects of weed. I mean, some would say, oh well, it opens up your mind, you become more brilliant than you are, you become more creative, you become more confident. Is any of this true?
It's not. I've been there before, and it's not. Like I also fell into that trap, and I used it on a lot of people to initiate a lot of people into smoking.
You initiated a lot of people to
I was
smoke.
initiating a lot of people.
So what did you
ladies.
tell them to initiate them?
Like, Charlie, this is dope. Look at how smart and how smooth we are with things. Like just smoke it because it's the best. You know, it's the best feeling.
That was what you were telling people.
That's what I was telling people.
But in reality,
it was all an illusion. That's what it is. Because if you have to even depend on weed before you can sing, then you're not talented. You know, your talent should be able to come from within. You shouldn't depend on something before you can perform. And that's what it is. We're now dependent on the substance to be able to function. I couldn't wake up a day without smoking. I had to smoke before I can even eat. But that's not how life is supposed to be. You can depend on substances to function. You should be able to function without, you know, the need for some of these things. So it's an illusion. It's never true. Marijuana doesn't make you smarter or more creative. You can argue about the biggest musicians in the world who probably smoke, but I would also tell you that that's probably not even their best output they are given. You know, so it's an illusion, and it's actually been scientifically proven that over time marijuana just, you know, sort of makes you forgetful. It alienates your ambition, your focus, your willpower. Yeah.
Are there a lot of our musicians who are dependent to create?
A lot.
You don't think they're being very creative enough? And if they were not dependent on that, they wouldn't be any better than they are? Or you think they would be better if they were not dependent on it?
Well, I can't speak for them, but I can speak for myself that although I thought marijuana was making me more creative or better, I've realized that even without marijuana, I've been able to perform 10x than I used to perform on the substance. You know, so just by that yardstick, I can
it's
assume
just a myth.
that
All right, Lord joins us for the news at 8, and then we'll continue this conversation. Imagine a non-alcoholic bar. We'll talk about that after the news.
Unedited with Miriam. Real life-changing stories on 3FM 92.7. Unedited.
By the staff of the Judicial Service, independence of the judiciary, delays in appeal processes relating to contempt of court, legacy of the nominee as a Chief Justice, what we can expect of her, delays in reasoning judgment, and a host of others. The Speaker, after about 3.5 hours of grilling by members of the committee, members concluded that The nominee in public came to the conclusion that she showed character, competence, and dexterity in the knowledge of the law. She pledged to interpret the law without fear or favor if approved as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. The committee therefore recommends to the House to adopt this report by consensus and approve Justice Gertrude Araba Isabasa Kitokonu as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana.
Still in Parliament, Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu says the Majority Caucus will have to meet again to decide whether Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta must be sacked by the President or resign. It will be recalled that some 80 Majority MPs in the midst of Ghana's engagement with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, asked that the Finance Minister steps down or be fired by the President. But President Akufo-Addo wanted him to finish his engagement with the IMF. The leadership of Parliament addressed a parliamentary press call in Parliament today.
That one, it will have to be determined by the caucus. So let's leave it to what determination that the caucus comes to. As you rightly said, it was started by a few people, but it became the position of the entire caucus. The entire caucus may have to engage to see what it is that must be done going forward. That's my response. That's my response. As you rightly said, have we finished our engagement with the IMF? The President said, let him conclude our engagement with the IMF. Have we finished our engagement with the IMF? That's another question. Anyway, so we are where we are, and we prosecute it if and when it becomes necessary.
That's it for the news update at 8 p.m. on here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Lodi Dasari. Do stay tuned because Miriam continues with the conversation.
Are you stressed from a hard day's work? Looking to de-stress and relax with soothing music and soft chats? Then join Mia Kofa on Wind Down. 3FM.
Keeping it cool, easy, nice and breezy like that. Okay, starting with Kenny Rogers. Write your name across my heart.
Can't help smiling when I look at you.
Every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. as I play your favorite songs on your favorite dial. 3FM 92.7. Wind Down with Mia Kofa, your smooth operator on your way home.
Keeping it real. But it's the same DJ who plays for Keeping It Real. This is unedited. Yes, it is with me, Miriam. We had to take that quick break for the news at 8 so that we can wrap up our conversation with John, our guest in the studio. So today is the first of a series of, survival series. And our focus today is overcoming addiction. John Asogonnde is sharing his journey with marijuana and alcohol and finding himself. And we're just loving the story. So before we went on that quick news break, you were telling us about wanting to do showbiz, but this time wanting to do it clean. Yeah. Right? I'm sure that's the idea behind the new business that you're pushing.
Right. Edinburgh.
When I posted the flyer, I mean, I read a lot of messages people send to me about, oh, is this for real? Is this true? I've been longing to see something like that.
Yeah.
When you say non-alcoholic bar, and I've seen some of the pictures that you shared with me, it looks like a normal bar.
Exactly.
And it has what looks like everything you'll find in a regular bar.
That's the vision. We didn't want to compromise on the excellence or the sophistication and euphoria that comes with going out just because there's no alcohol. So the vision was to create a space that still looked fun, still had a lot of fun going on, but then you're not tempted or under pressure to compromise on your well-being or to get into these vices, and that's what we're doing with Eden Bar.
Did you have any health complications as a result of your addiction?
No, I didn't.
Okay, because in your book you talk about tightness in your chest. you know, that some pages where you talk about feeling like burns in your chest. Was it as a result of the smoke or?
Yeah, well, okay, so I didn't say it's a health complication, because when I used to smoke, I had some of those feelings.
Okay.
But right after I stopped smoking, I was made brand new. Like, I was totally healed. And I say I don't have any of those because I know some people stop smoking, they have to go to the doctor or go to a rehab to, you know, sort of undergo healing. But mine was just done through the grace of God. You know, I gave my life to Christ, I prayed, I fasted, and then I was just washed anew. So I didn't have any complications.
I see. And this non-alcoholic bar, is it mobile? Is it, or
it's permanent?
It's permanent.
Yeah.
You have a
space in
okay.
Tesano, and it's a very beautiful place. People come out there to have fun. We have several different kinds of activities lined up throughout the week.
Okay.
So from Wednesdays we do the game nights, Thursdays we do movies, on Fridays we do karaoke and open mic, on Saturdays sip and paint, and on Sundays live band.
Interesting. You've got it all figured out. So I'm sure that you would probably may have hosted some of your old friends. Have they been curious enough to come and see what you're up to?
Some of them have, actually.
Oh, some have.
Yeah,
okay.
Some have. Yeah, and they loved it. I mean, they realized, I was saying my experience back there, I think really played a lot to make me be able to realize this vision.
Okay.
Because I understand how the nightlife works. I understand the exact, you know, techniques and skills needed to make it work. So from the mixologist in my bar to the waiters to even the curation of the cocktails, the names and the ingredients that go in there, these were all things that I really put, you know, so much effort and research into. And so everybody that's come there, even though they might still drink alcohol, they're still very impressed with what we have going on.
Interesting. So your friends from before who you would usually will step out with and all of that, when they come in there and they taste your cocktail, what do they tell you? What kind of feedback do you get?
Charlie, you want to tell me, say, hey, alcohol know this inside, like, for real? Like, they're surprised because we have all the spirits. We have whiskey that is 0.0. We have vodkas that are 0.0.
Charlie, that's what I don't quite understand. How does that work? I mean, how do you have whiskeys without? I want to try. This week I'm gonna come try it. Maybe this weekend.
Actually, we're on a break right now, but once we open, you can come.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So, you know, companies have realized that a lot of people are drifting away from alcohol because of they want to live a better, health-wise.
Okay.
You know, so that's what is motivating all these companies to go into the production of zero option beverages.
Okay.
So we have multinational beer companies like Guinness, Heineken, all of these are making 0.0 beer. So you have a Heineken that tastes just like the original Heineken,
but there's no alcohol.
There is no alcohol. And then you have whiskey from some of these companies that are also investing a lot into getting that sophisticated taste, getting that bite, getting that smell and everything, but then it's without any alcohol.
Have you thought about rolling out programs to help young people like yourself dealing with addiction, dealing with alcohol addiction, substance addiction?
Yeah, I have. And one of the things I've been doing is touring secondary schools. So in collaboration with the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International, we visit a lot of secondary schools across the country, mentor them, speak to them. We've been to several of them: Presec, Koforidua, Ganas, Abri Girls, Winneba. We've been to several schools across the country. And at Edinburgh too, we have interventions like that where we meet people undergoing addiction, and then we try to help them. And some rehab centers as well. I've been to almost all the rehab centers in Accra.
In the schools, do you get a lot of young ones reaching out to you for help?
I do. Actually, it's scary. Like, you would be surprised what these people are doing in secondary schools. And one killer thing there is pornography. A lot of them are hooked to pornography. And so we go there and then they come to us, they talk to us about it. They're like, this is my struggle, this is what I'm going through, and I want to be able to change. But then they're able to take inspiration from some of us who have been there before. But then God being so good, we've been able to, you know, step out of it and so yeah, that actually brings me fulfillment, because I believe that's what I've been called to do.
Interesting. I'm going to activate the phone lines briefly and have you call in if you're doing the listening right now. I'm sure you may have a word or two, or maybe a question to ask John. And if you're needing help in, overcoming addiction as well, he may be able to share a tip or two that may help you. Okay. 2 numbers you can call us on: 0559 242717. That's 0559 242717. The other number is 0556 910154. That's 0559 242717 and 0556 910154. If you have a question to ask John, I'm sure he would gladly answer it. Or if you have a comment or an advice as well, then you can also call 0559 242717 and 0556 910154. How are you using social media to advance your cause?
Yeah, I'm on all the platforms. I tweet a lot. Twitter's my favorite platform, so
okay.
I tweet a lot, just things on my mind and trying to inspire people. On Instagram, I use Instagram once in a while. On Facebook as well. So I just put my thoughts on social media, and I believe people get inspired by reading what I have to say.
Interesting. All right, let me go on the line and pick this call. Hello.
Hi, Miriam.
Hi, good evening. Who am I speaking with?
Miriam, I'm Jacqueline.
Hi, Jackie. Good to have you here. I've got John in the studio. You want to talk with him?
Yes, John was actually my mate in school.
Oh, Valley View.
John, we used to call him John Hemmett.
Yeah. I see. He can hear you. You want to say something to him?
Hi.
Well, John, I just want to say I'm so proud of you, because I know you from way back in Valley View, and I'm super proud of what you have become now.
Thank you so much.
I know you're wondering where Jackie.
Yeah.
Hey, Jackie, OBK's friend.
Oh, wow. Where are you now?
Well, right now we'll talk about
Cool.
All right, Jackie.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Each time I see you post on social media, I'm like, oh boy, this one there is God that did it, because there's no human being involved. Because
Jackie,
you know what?
Let me hold your thought. When you say you know how it was, tell me how it was that we didn't know.
Hey, every day you smell weed on John, but we can't say it. Sometimes it worries you, but you can't say it. You just, have to keep quiet, because you don't want to break certain friendships, but you still want to keep them. And at least when we want to go out, John is always the lead to take us out. So we'll also go. He will take us out. We'll go for parties. He will show us places, give us the, introduce us to people.
Hey.
It was helping us, networking and all that.
Hey, Jackie.
But you see, since seeing John now, I'm like, if you are anyone going through anything, if you really want to come out of it, you need a grace, because
absolutely,
if John has been able to come out of his struggles, then anyone can do it.
All right, Jackie, thank you so much for spilling the beans. All right, hello, good evening.
Yeah, hello, Miriam. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to John in your studio.
Nice. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, this is Clifford from Adenta.
All right, Cliff, let's hear you.
Yeah, my point is that I just want to ask him, at what point in time did he realize that the path that he has chosen for himself would lead him to something different that he didn't wanted in his life? And the second question is that, don't he feel threatened that he is discussing about this marijuana, those who are involved into it, or feel that it's going to spoil their business or something like that? Has he ever thought of it? And at the time that he was into this, was he angry with himself for one day? Because I know some certain group of people who are in school now with me, they are not smoking, they are not drinking, but they are into snuff, something that we call snuff. And every time they put it in their news, and then I don't get what they are getting out of that. And if you can tell us something about it, the side effects of it, that one too is normal self.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will respond to it. Thank you very much for your questions, Clifford. I'm sure you get where he's going with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you say to it?
Where the turning point came from, and I mentioned how Dr. Mensa Otable's message gave me a transformation of the mind, and also the incident with the Godiamo guy who committed suicide just made me realize this was not my path. I had the ambition of becoming president, so I realized I couldn't just keep on smoking and getting drunk and become president. It's impossible, And then he talks about how I'm bold enough to talk about these things. I mean, I don't have a beef with anybody, and throughout the interview, you realize I kept insisting that it was my own choices. I couldn't blame D-Black or blame Black Avenue Music or blame Valley View or any of these areas for what I went through. These are things that I chose myself and put myself in. So I believe I have that. I have that freedom to be able to speak about these things
openly. All right, let me hold your thought. Let me take this call. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. Who am I speaking? Good evening. Who am I speaking with?
That's Ella.
Hi, Ella. Good to have you here. You want to speak to John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi,
Hello,
Ella.
John.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Okay. Just want to say I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And please keep it up, okay?
Sure, I will.
All right. Bye.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. So you were still responding to Clifford's question.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm not against anybody. My non-alcoholic bar, we are not even in competition with anybody. I mean, I cannot shut down alcoholic bars. Even if I become president, I will not shut down alcoholic bars from operating. Everybody's at free will to do what they want to do. I'm just providing an alternative. And so if you feel like this is your vibe and you don't want to drink alcohol, then you can come to my bar. So there's no really beef here. Of course, some people might still get worried and get pissed that I'm speaking about these things, but I also don't just speak about them on my own accord. I have God backing me. This is what God has called me to do, and He's the one who inspires my mind and gives me all these ideas to bring forth. So with God behind me, I don't think I should have a need to worry.
Have you had threats on your life for whatever reason?
No, I don't think I've had any threats. Yeah.
Okay. You wanted to make reference to something he said as well.
Yeah, he mentioned that he has some students who are into something snuff.
Yes.
I really don't have an idea what that is, but yeah, anything that is a drug or anything that alters your mind is not good for you, because your mind is supposed to stay active and live within the purpose of God. So once you bring in something that alters your ability to think or your ability to make decisions, then you're heading towards a path that isn't for you.
Interesting. So you want to be president one day?
Yeah. I do.
Is the dream still alive?
Much alive than even before.
Is it?
Yeah.
How far with that journey?
So actually, it's another thing. When I quit smoking, I was going to run for MP. And so
when you quit smoking?
When I quit smoking in 2018.
Okay. How old were you then?
I was 25, 24.
And you wanted to be an MP? Okay.
I wanted to be an MP because I felt like if I'm going to be president, I had to go through that path.
Yeah.
And so people around me thought, oh, maybe it's because he wants to stand for MP. That's why he's pretending that he has stopped smoking and stopped drinking. But I really just wanted to do that because I still had ambition to become president. But over time, I just realized, I wasn't even really ready to be MP. And if I want to become president, there's no really requirement that you must be an MP before you become president.
Let me hold your thought and take this call. Come back to me. Hello?
Yeah, Miriam.
Yes.
Please, this is Clifford back again.
Okay.
Let me just chip in this. I am somebody who drink alcohol.
Okay.
But I don't take it much. My point is that when I take alcohol and I sleep the following morning, I can't remember how I spent my money. And he being an expert now, I just want to find out what is wrong with me now. Should I quit, or it's normal to take alcohol when you forget about certain things?
So you take the alcohol to forget your problems whilst you're drinking, but when you wake up, the problems wake up with you.
No, not exactly. Because my point is that even if I take it small, if assuming that if I take one packet of aluminum, for instance, and I just say I am okay, and then I've come to sleep, and then tomorrow morning I cannot even remember what I did.
Where you even start to drink it.
Yeah, even the plans that I had in my mind that I'm going to do this the following week or the next week.
Yeah,
I'll just forget about all those kind of things.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right, Clifford. Thank you very much. I'm sure this is something that you even though maybe yours may be a different thing. Is this very common with somebody who's addicted to a substance?
Yeah, forgetfulness comes along with some of these substances. But he's asking if he has to quit.
Yeah.
Normally people ask me they want to quit. Somebody asks, why do you want to quit? That's the first question. Why? Because nobody's forcing him to quit. So he himself has already diagnosed himself. He has realized that he has a problem. Okay. When he drinks, the next day he forgets his ambitions, he forgets his goals, he forgets even what he did the previous night before. So I don't need to tell him to quit. He's already answered himself. So go for it. Because you realize the thing is actually harming your future. So yeah, just go for it. But of course, it's not easy, and that's where the God factor comes in. Once you depend on God, and of course, you can still seek professional help.
Right.
But in my case, I believe God is the ultimate answer. So pray about it and take that conscious effort to make sure you're dealing with this thing head on.
I'll take this call. When we come back, I would want you to advise young people who are struggling what you had struggled with, and also to parents. Hello? Unfortunately, we lost that. So for young people who are listening to you now, who are probably thinking they're living their best life, but obviously because of the path you are on, you know that they're struggling with things that will hurt them later. What advice would you give them?
I learned from Miles Monroe, we're all here with a purpose. And we should deny the symmetry of having the privilege of getting the gifts and purpose that God has placed within us. So for each and every one of us, we are here for a reason. And if you're going to keep on living that fast life, thinking you're having your best life, you may end up dead. I know I have friends who have died.
As a result of
this, I could have died. Abuse? I've had several accidents when I was high or when I was drunk driving, and I could have died. But God what
happened to you? Where do you have a scar? Was this part of the accident?
This was actually when I was a kid.
Okay.
I just had some. Yeah, but I had several accidents, and I believe my parents' prayers kept me. And so to the parents also, when your children are in this, just keep praying for them. Like, it's very important. If my mother didn't keep praying for me or my dad didn't keep praying for me, I probably wouldn't have seen the light ever, and I probably would have just ended up miserable and like in a worse situation. So yeah.
All right, let me take this last call. Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. Who am I speaking to, please?
My name is Ken.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. I want to say this to John. John, thank God for your life, and congratulations. The path you have taken on, I'm just too proud and looking forward to meeting you. Future President, congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Presido, thank you very much. Guys, we've got to be wrapping up. I have been left speechless by your story, John Hammett. I've been left speechless by your journey, and what can I say? Extremely proud of you. I mean, being addicted to whether it's drug or whatever it is anything that you idolize or you're addicted to. It can be very difficult to break off.
Yeah.
But for you to have been able to do that, I mean, goodness, that you definitely God is at work. I'll take this very last one. Hello. Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
Who am I speaking to?
Mina.
Hi, Mina. Okay, talk to us.
I want to keep listening, and I just want to know what am I looking for?
We can barely hear you. We can barely hear you.
Is it better now?
Yes, I think it's better.
Whatever it is you want to achieve in taking out these initiatives, I pray God to you, and yes, doing a great job.
All right. Thank you so much for your call as well. All right. Anybody you want to thank so far for contributing to your journey?
My dad, my mom, my siblings. Yeah, they've been amazing. And also I have two very good partners that have been able to help me make eaten by reality. They've been very tremendous in making this vision come to life. So yeah, thank them too so much. And definitely my pastor, Dr. Mensa Otabil. He's been a great inspiration to me since back then. I had him in 2018 till date. And so I'm very privileged to be able to keep learning from him and keep continuing this journey that God has called me to be.
All right. Thank you so much, John, for being a part of a show. Thank you for agreeing to come and share your journey with us. I'm sure that you have inspired so many people out there. I wish you the best with a non-alcoholic bar.